Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Good morning, and welcome to Revolution Radio here at freedomslips.com. I'm your host, Terry Ackerman, a.k.a. Lady Horse in the chat room. Today, I'm so pleased and tickled to have my first guest, Christie Aphrodite. And Christie has a PhD in holistic health. Oh, she's a PhD holistic health coach, creator of My True Essential Essence. I'm going to screw this all up, Christie. I am so sorry. Creator of My True Essence, self-taught aromatherapist, herbalist, natural healer, and radio host. Also a volunteer teacher at the SWMO preschool and creator of Project Love Your Neighbor. And we're going to be speaking of essential oils, something new to me. I just discovered them. I've been using essential oil as far as eucalyptus, but as part of my treatment for natural horse fly repellent. But that's about all I know about it. So without further ado, welcome, Christie.
Good morning. How you doing, Terry?
I am doing fine, and thank you for coming on my show, and thank Hans for getting us together. I appreciate it so much.
Definitely. Well, I love your show and love what you're doing and, giving out recipes and tips and tricks to just kind of help us all be a little more self-sufficient. So this is perfect. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. Where did you get started? How did you get involved with this?
Oh, with oils. I had always kind of been, of course, I'm a girl, so fragrance has always been attractive to me, but I didn't actually get into real essential oils, because there is a difference, but we'll talk about that later. I didn't really get into real essential oils till about 5 or so years ago, and that was during my own healing process. I was paralyzed from the waist down and in a wheelchair with my children feeding and clothing me. And it was just kind of, initially, it was the same reason that you got into them for your horse with the eucalyptus, just trying to, I had moved out to the Ozarks, and I'm like, man, this is just, there's a lot of bugs here. What do we do? Is there anything I could do to keep them away? And so, I got to know eucalyptus as well, and tea tree and citronella and some other things. And then it just kind of evolved from there. I just kept seeing that, for example, if we forgot to use the oils and ended up bit all over, or, the kids have run into some poison ivy or, burns, and just, it was a snowball effect after that. So it wasn't something where I decided, I'm going to go learn essential oils today. That's my new project. It just kind of evolved over time, and then it just got crazier and crazier. I had a tick bite in my armpit. This is kind of a funny story, and I'm like, oh man, that sucks. So I grabbed a dab of oil, and this was on a blend that I had made at the time, specifically for bugs and scrapes and bruises and things like that. So when I pulled the tick out, I put the oil there and, didn't really think about it, went to bed. And I don't know about you, but here, it's kind of south in the Ozarks, and it is really, really hot. And you know how summer goes, and sometimes you got that little odor going on. Well, the next morning, I didn't have any odor in that one armpit. So I'm like,
oh my.
Wow. Yeah, I'm like, kids, come over here. Can you smell this? And I'm like, wait, smell this one too. And obviously one was like, ew. And then the other one was like, perfect. So, I'm like, wow, it's also a deodorant. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. That very same oil has actually been used to treat a man of gangrene, completely healed his legs right before the VA was scheduled to chop him off, and, scabies, athlete's foot, and all sorts of other things since then. But, yeah, that was basically my beginning to essential oils, real essential oils, about 5 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to look into this, aren't I?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, it really isn't, because when you think about it, the essential oils are really the soul of the plant. So
Correct.
It contains not only all of the nutritional properties, but basically everything that plant needs to survive. So whether it's to, prevent predators from eating it, or the typical regenerating and oxygenating properties, immune defense properties that they need to survive. So it's literally concentrated into this one little drop, which allegedly, and I say allegedly just because, I really have no way of proving it. It's just something I read in a book. But, yeah, allegedly there's 40 million trillion molecules in one little drop of essential oils. Isn't that crazy?
Well, you think about it. The Creator put everything on Earth that we need. I mean,
yes.
Beyond that, and I have a big problem with big pharma anyway. I always have and always will. I mean, a drug for everything, and it's not good for your body. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And I know that you could probably attest to that with probably all the drugs they probably gave you.
Oh, man, yes. But, so essential oils 40 million trillion molecules, that's just kind of insane, because that's like approximately 40,000 molecules for each cell in the average human body. Yeah, so they instantly get transferred like everywhere, and the power of scent is so strong. And of course it's kind of it's connected to the limbic system and the hypothalamus, and which is pretty much our hormone command center. It's has to do with the hippocampus, of course, which it's also attached to, which has to do with like survival behavior, and then the cerebral cortex, which relays all the impulses. So that's why you can inhale a fragrance and it can travel so fast and, be useful to, as a painkiller or as a relaxant or as a stimulant if you need. And, being transdermal, they can literally pass through every layer of skin, as opposed to, say, mink oil or almond oil or, something else more common that can only get to your third layer of skin. So you literally can treat your organs just by putting the essential oils on your skin.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to look more into this. This is really, well, see, I've been through chemo. I went through radiation. I had breast cancer in '01. Knock on wood. Clean cancer for 12 years now. I have they tell me my thyroid is basically dead, so I have to take thyroid medicine once a day. So, this is stuff that I really want to get into and look into, because I've heard so much great stuff about it that
definitely. Honey, yeah, if I can help you with any of that, I would love to, especially, with the thyroid, because, about big pharma. We don't really need to waste a lot of time talking about that, but, they're really, really good at convincing us that we need a drug, and unfortunately, there never is a cure for it. No. Obviously, what happens after that is you get more side effects, and then what's the answer? Yeah. Another drug.
More drugs.
Yeah. So, the truth is,
vicious circle.
It is. And as you mentioned, God, the Creator, whoever designed this, also not only designed the planet, Mother Nature perfectly, but also our bodies. So we're actually designed to be able to naturally regenerate ourselves with ease, kind of like you have horses in the garden, so I'm sure you're outside and you see worms and lizards and maybe even once or twice have seen their tails get cut or pulled off for whatever reason. Well, what happens? It grows right back. Why? Because they're getting the minerals, the nutrition that they need, and that's how our body is designed as well. All we need to do is give it the proper fuel. So, for example, like with your thyroid and things, I mean, I went through similar issues, cancer, lupus, literally lost my kidneys. I had to wear diapers and all sorts of fun stuff. And all of that is healable. And I literally was able to regenerate all of my organs and perfectly healthy and happy and walking and running and all these things doctors said I would never do years ago.
Well, I'm taking it one day at a time and just trying to figure out what got me into this whole thing about the essential oils is I happened to be reading on a blog someplace, and this lady uses it for about everything, and I'm like, well, why can't I do this?
You can.
Yeah. And so I'm going to learn. I'm going to sit and make myself learn this because I'm also Native, and I watched my grandmother and my mother do things with plants that were just amazing. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with catnip tea. I grew up with, dandelion greens, eating them, So
awesome.
And I wish I had paid more attention. So, it's not like now here I am, 56 years old, and relearning everything that my grandmother and my mother.
Excellent. Hey, I know the feeling. It's like here we are. We're finally old enough to start unlearning. Oh, goodness.
Well, I've always been close to nature anyway. Growing up, I was a little kid in the woods and sitting and that kind of thing. But now I kick myself in the butt for not actually listening and learning what my grandmother and my mother had to say.
You know what? I've kicked myself over the same things, but guess what, honey? We are totally right on time. We're exactly where we need to be and went through exactly everything we needed to be. And, so it's kind of that thing. I remember my grandmother, oh my gosh, she was so wise. But, when you're like 11 years old, you have better things to do than listen to your grandma. And, sorry, Mimi, I love you. You know how much I love you. And I do. It's like, it's really not going to do any good to kick ourselves now thinking, oh, I wish I would have listened. We couldn't have comprehended it anyways,
Well, yeah, that's true.
I got a question.
You had other things to do.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Christie.
Yeah.
Can you give us a basic outline of the essential oils and how we can make those oils?
Well, do you mean actually make the oils or make...
How do we use them, basically?
Oh, absolutely. Do you mean like, should I pick a few oils that maybe everyone could benefit by having them in their, medicine cabinet?
I think that'd be a great thing. Don't you agree, Terry?
Oh, I agree totally.
Excellent. Okay, I would totally love to. So, essential oils literally can replace your entire medicine cabinet. They have proven to be anti-cancerous, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-infectious, antimicrobial, antiviral, antiparasitic, anti-tumoral, antiseptic, and, while many of us, including myself, say antibiotic because they work as such, the true meaning of anti is against, bio is life. So that's not really an actual fair assessment, being that essential oils only promote life. However, bacterias or anything harmful for your system are not going to like it much. In fact, they're so powerful they can literally completely dissipate petrochemicals. So, while I mention that right now, I would suggest that lemon is a wonderful essential oil to have on hand for washing your fruits and vegetables that you buy in the store, and you might be concerned kind of pesticides and such they're using. And in fact, you can test it yourself by getting a piece of plastic or styrofoam or something and drop just one drop on there and watch it disappear. So they're really, really powerful, and I just want to let people know before we get into specific oils is that no oils, the oils are not the same. And, you know, as you mentioned, Big Pharma, I'm sure you're aware they've used some deception in advertising. Same with our food supply, labeling. Well, guess what? The same thing in essential oils as well. So just because it says it's pure and natural doesn't necessarily make it so. So with that, oh, and one more thing that's important to know is more is not better. You know, a lot of people, they try 1 drop or 2 drops for whatever their need is, and they're like, wow, this is great. So the next time they need it, they're thinking, oh, well, here, let's try more, because if this worked, you know,
Right.
5 drops is going to be better. Not necessarily. So with that said, some of my favorite oils that I believe can literally replace anyone's entire medicine cabinet, I would start off with peppermint. And peppermint, of course, I think most people like the flavor, and, you know, it just kind of reminds them of, what are those yummy things? Peppermint patties, and I don't know, it seems to always bring you back to childhood, but it's more than... I
used to use peppermint drops for my colicky baby.
Oh, okay, all right. So you have a little familiar with that. Did you just rub a little bit, like on her belly, or?
No, I put a couple drops of peppermint in a bottle and put water in it and shook it up. And
Excellent. Okay. Well, I actually drink peppermint in my water. I put a drop in my bottle all day long that I'm drinking, but what's so amazing about it is the synergistic effects and the adaptogenic effects. So, for example, if you needed a quick pick-me-up, peppermint will help you with that. At the same time, if you're revved up a little too much and need to relax, it'll also help you with that, which, you know, same thing with lavender and several others, but that just shows, you know, the amazing intelligence behind these oils. You can also use it for, like, headaches, nausea. If you used it for your baby, did you use it during your pregnancy?
no, I did not. This is just a time through passed down generation after generation. Peppermint soothes the belly, you know.
Okay, it's been really, like, for me, when I was pregnant, it totally helped me for my nausea, and you're right about the belly, colicky babies, digestion issues, you know, even bowel disorders, flatulence, travel sickness. One thing I'm dealing with right now that peppermint is amazing for is, like, mouth, tooth, gum infections. Also good for, like, poor circulation or swelling. Peppermint acne, you can use it for acne, and depending on the quality of oil, which I hope that you all have access to the best, which really isn't that. I know people think, oh, essential oils are so expensive, look at those little bottles, but that little bottle will last you, you know, at least a year. So I'd like to, if you don't mind, just suggest some brands that I know to be amazing, because, you know, the last thing I want to do is encourage people to, like, go to the drugstore and then buy some, you know, corporate brand of essential oil and then do the things we do with it and not get the same results, especially when you're taking them internally. So my favorite peppermint oil is Peppermint Jim. They are the oldest, longest family-run mint farm in America have not been, haven't sold out despite the pressure by the banksters trying to kick them out and demonize them and all of those fun things that, feds like to do. But I think it's been 102 seasons. Just a beautiful, beautiful family. Oh, man, it is so heavenly up there. So that is my peppermint oil of choice, is Peppermint Jim. But again, it is antiseptic, antibiotic, anti-infectious. It's, as you mentioned, the stomach. Really, really good for stomach issues, no matter where they come from. Also, how do you say it? Acid reflux and indigestion, issues like that, or sinus issues, lung issues, swelling. So as you can see, we could go on and on talking about peppermint oil, but shock, fever, headaches, you can either inhale them, or you can put them, use them topically or internally. So how you choose to, or put it in a diffuser in your house. So how you choose to do it is totally up to you. You can take a sitz bath. You can, make a spray. You can put them, like a bowl of hot water and drop a couple drops on top and put your little washcloth in there. And since they are not water soluble, the oil is going to stick to the cloth. And so you can use that on your face or your forehead and in times of shock or maybe even seizures or, things like that. Seasickness, travel sickness, morning sickness, all of those fun things. So that's probably enough about peppermint right now. What do you think?
That's a lot. I didn't realize it was all that. And wow, I just use it for belly aches.
Yeah, all that in a bag of chips.
My.
For sure.
Well, that'll be definitely one I'll put in my medicine cabinet.
Definitely.
Well, there was one, can't remember the name of it now. Doggone it. My mind is slipping here. I don't have blonde moments. I have gray moments.
I understand that. I've been suffering that most of my life. Well, how about lavender? Are you familiar with the properties of lavender?
No. I know that it smells good.
Okay, yeah, it does. And again, it's just like peppermint. If you need it as like a pick-me-up, it's there for you. If you need it as kind of a calmative or a relaxant, again, it's there for you. Lavender, now I mentioned Ricky with the gangrene issue. And
yes.
The blend I used on that is my Hiker's Peak blend, which is about 27 different oils. However, Dr. David Stewart, he said that they had cured gangrene with just lavender oil. So I don't know. I don't have any personal experience with that, but I do, I saw Ricky's legs go away. So I don't know if it was just the lavender or if it was the other 20-something ingredients in it or not. But lavender is awesome for your skin. Basically, like anything that can happen to your skin. So whether it's a burn or a cut or a scrape or a rash, swelling or poison ivy, an insect bite, and preventing them, again, just like peppermint and eucalyptus and, a few other things we've mentioned here, sunburns as well. In fact, what was his name? Marie Gattefossé or something. I'm forgetting how to pronounce his name, but I guess in the 1800s or somewhere around the turn of the century, his family was in, this was kind of the return of essential oils as a way of life. They worked in his family owned a perfume factory, and he had this horrible burn, and he just reached for the first cold liquid thing he could find. He thought it was water. It ended up being lavender, and it literally stopped the burn, the swelling, the blisters, and it was almost like it had never even happened. So lavender, yeah, really good choice to have on hand. Just like peppermint, This is also an antiseptic, so really good at cleaning any wounds. Can also be used as an antibiotic or an anti-infectious, even an antidepressant, a calmative, and its antiparasitic properties as well. But also, you mentioned your colicky baby. Lavender will also help with that. Just rub a little on the gut or the belly, or, my one friend, she uses when her younger children, get a little bit hyper or something and she wants to talk on the phone. She'll just put like a drop of lavender on their pillow or on their stuffed animal. And after they inhale that for a little bit, they just pass right out. So.
Wow, that's
yeah.
Well, I'm writing these things down as we go, so I'm taking notes.
Right.
Rose hip, aloe. Any words on them?
Are you asking about rose hips or?
Yes.
Okay.
Rose hip.
Yeah, rose hips is awesome. It's also a good insect repellent as well. Aloe, I'm definitely not even close to being an expert or knowing all of the properties of aloes, so if you don't mind, I'd like to, kind of pass on that.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
So yeah, rose hips.
Whatever you're comfortable.
Yeah, I just, there's so many other people that know so much more about it. I definitely wouldn't be the person to teach anyone about aloe, unfortunately. But rose, and rose hips, of course. Rose hips is excellent source of vitamin C. It also has bug repellent and antibacterial properties. But rose itself, I'm not sure if you know this, it's been measured as the highest frequency of any essential oil or really living thing. For example, the human body, the average frequency that it's been measured at is between 62 and 68 megahertz. If you start to feel a little bit like cold and flu symptoms, then that means your frequency is lowered to about 57, 58-ish. Candida is about 55. Cancer is about 42. And then death begins at 25. Okay, so, we just left off on lavender, and lavender has been measured, it's somewhere around 70-something. So just a little bit higher than the human body. So hence the quick pick-me-up kind of thing. But rose, totally different story entirely. 320 megahertz. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Now I know why my dad enjoyed his rose garden so much.
Yeah, really. I mean, the scent of scent is just so powerful and just really, it is really relaxing. And you hear people say, oh, come on, raise your vibration or raise your frequency. And you're like, what, dude? I just slap you in the face. But, there really is something to it. And essential oils can definitely be a part of that. I haven't met a single person that they haven't, been able to help on some level, whether it's an instant, quick pick-me-up or, if it's something more long-term like gangrene or, scabies or even heart issues, tooth infections, gum infections, etc. In fact, I could tell you recently, one of my friends had a big boil, there was an abscess in his mouth, totally swollen. He ended up with a big boil on his face right outside of his, where the infection was in his mouth. And then he kind of turned into like the Elephant Man. Like his whole side of his face was pushed over one direction. He was in so much pain, poor guy. And I'm like, don't worry. He was scared to death. He's going to have to go to the dentist and spend all this money. And, he's kind of new to essential oils. So I'm like, come on, don't worry about it. I've got some oils over here. And literally 2 days, totally, completely gone. Granted, he was in bed those 2 days, definitely getting some rest and drinking some herb tea like dandelions, to kind of clean him out of the infection. But it was totally gone, abscess gone, tooth infection healed, boil completely gone, and no scar.
Oh, wow. Well, we have a question from the chat room. It's from Monster, and he says, Christy, I made a skin cream, cannabis oil, coconut, aloe vera, beeswax, and grapeseed essential oil, and distilled water. I found the water separated afterwards. Is there a way to stop the separation?
Oh, that's so. You know what? I am not familiar with making creams and lotions with water. I could refer you to some articles that I've read, but I actually haven't done it myself. My first time doing it, the same thing happened. And when that happened, I just kind of dumped out the water and then kept using it. But I make my creams, similar to that, just without the water. So I'm sorry, I don't have a quick tip, answer to solve that problem for you. Again, another question I can't answer.
Well, we all are in a learning curve, so,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
hope that helped you, Monster.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I do it with, I'll use the different butters, whether it's coconut oil, shea butter, cocoa butter, beeswax, and then different oils like jojoba, hemp, macadamia nut, evening primrose, neem oil, etc. But yeah, I'm sorry, no experience or success with adding water to them.
But I want to thank Monster because now I remember what it was. It was grapeseed, the essential oil. Can we elaborate on that one? That's the one I was trying to think of.
Okay, well, I'm not familiar with it as an essential oil. I use it as just a regular viscous, oil. So
Okay.
I really, again, if they do a grapeseed essential oil, I'm not familiar with it at all. I do use the grapeseed, the regular, like almond oil, cold pressed, but I'm not familiar with a grapeseed essential oil.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had no idea, but you give me something to look into. So I do use carrot seed essential oil, by the way, and that's excellent for your skin and also has anti-cancer properties. And speaking of which, I would like to bring your attention to PubMed. .gov, which is basically the end-all be-all, the National Library of Medicine, where, all the experts put up all their reports and tell us, which drug is good for us. And I think it's kind of funny that people always say, oh, essential oils are herbs, there's no scientific evidence to back it up, so therefore it's dangerous and scary and quackery and witch doctory, so, stick with the man-made drugs. But the truth is, there actually is a bunch of studies done with essential oils, and here, I'll give you that link on Skype. Of course, you can search for the oils specifically by name, but last time I checked, there was 11,388 studies with uses, beneficial uses for essential oils. And at the same, this was probably a couple months ago, so maybe the study rate is higher. But specifically with essential oils and cancer, there were 486 published studies last time I checked that, and I'll give you that link as well. So I think that's really interesting.
I'm putting them in the chat room so everybody can go look.
Okay, so for example, like frankincense, even eucalyptus, sandalwood, but you grew up eating weeds and things too, so there you can find some red clover in there and all sorts of
Gosh.
Definitely. Did that help you with your experience?
well, going through menopause, and they wanted to put me on Premarin, which is I'm a horse person, and that's made from pregnant mare urine, and the glut of foals that are born and killed because of this. I told the doctor he could shove it where the sun don't shine. So I decided to go out on my own and find out what I could do for menopause.
Yeah, good for you.
So, yeah, and one of the ingredients was black cohosh and red clover, and I can't remember what all I had there. But, yeah, going through like that is like, sorry, I go back to nature. I'm going to find out what I can do for myself.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about it. And I just started to see or realize in the last few years that, like, everything we need is growing in our yard.
Exactly.
And I've lived in different places, or I've been to friends' house that live in the same city, but we have two entirely different sets of what we call weeds, medicine. And, I just spoke with a client last week who is in Idaho. And he said that, I've been suffering all of this pain, and I'd really like to find a natural painkiller. And sure enough, he had tons of wild lettuce growing in his yard. Just like right there, exactly what he needs. So it's just kind of amazing how it works like that. And I wanted to share with you another oil that I think would be essential in one's medicine cabinet, and that would be oregano. And I'll tell you some of my experience with oregano. I was bit last December, and there's a bunch of photos and, video testimonials or whatever on the site, because I documented it very well, because I had never been able to, first of all, I've never had all my tendons and ligaments cut in my hand before, so I thought it would be really cool to just kind of document my healing progress using only essential oils. So there were like 3 puncture wounds that cut like my radial tendon, my ligament across the top of my hand, and being that I was out of town when it happened, it was a full 2-day drive home. I wasn't really able, I just wanted to drive and get home. I wasn't really taking care of myself or putting oil on, 5 times a day, maybe once in the morning, and drive for 20 hours, and the drill. So I ended up, when I got back, everyone was scared to death. Christie, you're going to die. You have an infection. Go to the doctor, whatever. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll let you take me to the doctor, but not because I'm going to do anything that they want me to do. However, I did want a diagnosis so that I knew what I was healing from naturally. And they wanted to give me a tetanus shot. I ended up with lockjaw. It was totally swollen. I was lightheaded, like literally passing out, couldn't get out of bed, completely stiff spine, couldn't open my mouth. It was really interesting. So I just decided, well, why don't I make, my own antibiotics with oregano oil and coconut oil, and I put them in capsules and took 3 per day for about 4 days. But in 2 days, that alleged tetanus infection was gone. So it was like a really quick, miraculous healing. It had helped my hand. When you look at my hand and my wrist, it's like it never even happened. And in fact, 6 weeks later, I was playing the piano, whereas other people that have had similar injuries 6 weeks later, they're just barely getting their cast off and starting to reuse, learn to reuse their fingers again. So oregano it's very, very powerful, anti-infectious, antibiotic, antiviral, antiseptic. In fact, it's something like 35 times stronger than carbolic acid. So, if you have anything, serious, whether it's gangrene or scabies or any type of, infection, strep, etc., oregano is definitely essential, I believe, in everybody's cabinet.
It's quite amazing what you can do just with essential oils. I wasn't familiar with them at all till I listened to your show a couple of times over on the news station. So I'm very impressed. I think we dropped Lady Horse. I'm trying to get her back in, but
okay.
Just continue, Christie.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, let's see. I mean, I guess along the same lines, I know we're kind of running out of time here, so I'll spend less time on the individual oils and just give a few more out. But in the same category of the oregano would be thyme, which again has anti-cancer properties. And maybe, let's see, frankincense is another one that has been hailed as been proven to have anti-cancer properties. Do we have Terry back?
Yes, dear, I'm back. I'm sorry. My Skype.
It happens. I know.
Yes.
It is okay. So I guess I can share with you some of the antibiotic essential oils. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, kind of give you an idea of different oils. And that's the thing, you know, maybe you're just like, oh, I hate oregano, or I don't like lavender. You know, there's other choices. It doesn't have to be these oils specifically, so I'll just share with you some other choices. If you're looking for an antibiotic, let's see, lemon, again, patchouli, thyme, tea tree, melissa, bergamot, let's see, eucalyptus, your favorite oil for your horsies, clove, basil, bay, let's see, frankincense, and peppermint. Did I say oregano? Yeah, and oregano. So that's about all I can think of right now for antibiotic, but antiseptic, you can pretty much throw in all of those, in addition to rosemary, pine, rose.
Pine?
Pine, which, by the way, is like, 30 times more vitamin C than oranges. Do you have a lot of pine where you live?
Oh, yeah. I'm in Michigan. What do you...
Okay.
We have pine everywhere.
All right. Okay, yeah, so pine, I mean, you know, whether you have the essential oil or not, you can benefit from it tremendously by just sticking a few needles maybe in a cup of tea and get tons of vitamin C and all of the antioxidant properties. I also hear that the resin is really good for healing teeth. No personal experience with that yet, but yeah, pine, palmarosa, again, eucalyptus, geranium, jasmine, juniper, lemongrass, linden flowers, cardamom, chamomile, cinnamon.
So basically, whatever we have locally, we can look into and use.
Definitely, absolutely. I mean, just start with what's in your front yard.
Oh my gosh! Well,
yeah.
I was blessed to have this property. Long story, but anyway, I have found that I have primrose. I have
Nice.
Blackberry, raspberry, wild strawberry. I have cowslip. I have
Nice.
just unbelievable amounts of plant life here that I'm going to look into. Kat asked a question. Do you recommend, any particular name brand of oil? Is there a particular brand that you like more than others?
Yeah, for the peppermint oil, I love the peppermint gem. I've tried others, you know, the Tisserand, and I don't really want to mention any names, but I've tried others, and my favorite is the peppermint. Peppermint gem, peppermintgem.com is the website, and then let me look up another site that I really love. It's called Sacred Medicine Sanctuary, and here's the website. It's sacred-medicine.org. I'm putting that in the Skype chat here. And they, like, as far as oregano, basil, let's see, thyme, eucalyptus, fennel, things. Oh my gosh. These oils are absolutely amazing. I don't know them personally, like I do, Peppermint Jim and the Crosby family, but they do an amazing job, and those are the oils that I've used that have, again, cured my alleged tetanus infection and, Ricky's gangrene and helped other people. So I'm definitely confident in these brands. I know there's other brands that have really good oils, but I don't subscribe to all just one brand. I just try them all and find my favorite, and, so I end up with like 10 different brands in my house. So those are my two favorite. Let's see. Oh, doTERRA, I think they're pretty good. Tesserand, Young. There's other brands that are good. I'm not into the multi-level marketing type thing myself.
Right.
So then you have to raise the prices so that everybody can get their cut. And I just prefer to go to the source, whether it's the farmer. Fortunately, here in Missouri, we have people that distill their own. So, let's see, where did we leave off? On antiseptic oils? Do you have any, specific questions? I'm noticing that we're running out of time for, a specific ailment you want or anyone needs help with?
Yeah, is there, like I said, I was just trying to figure out, myself, thyroid. Is there anything particular I should be looking into taking?
Oh, definitely. Well, actually, this is not an essential oil, but brown seaweed is awesome for your thyroid. Are you familiar with it, or have you looked into it? Okay.
I was taking bladder rack capsules.
Okay.
But they really didn't seem to do anything, so I stopped taking them. But I will look into this.
Now let me ask you this: with your thyroid, have you had any surgeries or anything on it?
No.
Okay, so it's all still there.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's really good to know. Okay, so I guess bladder rack allegedly is, again, I say allegedly because I don't have any firsthand experience, but some essential oils that can help. And I'm not sure what's going on if you're having a hormone deficiency due to your pituitary or hypothalamus. I don't know the specifics. Yeah, general rule though would be sandalwood. Sandalwood. Are you familiar with sandalwood?
I love the smell of it.
Okay. Well, did you know that sandalwood is actually a pineal gland stimulator? So it's good for a lot of things, excellent for, infections, scarring. In fact, I use it in my face oil or any of the oils or creams that I use for scarring, cystitis, chest infections, also good for anxiety, fluid retention as well. Another one that I think would be really good is frankincense. And again, if you looked at those reports on the links I gave you, you probably saw that, it also has anti-cancer properties, but really good for your thyroid. And again, is also a pineal gland stimulator. It's also really good for, chest issues or respiratory issues like colds and coughs, bronchitis.
That
again,
would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, so a natural antibacterial, antiseptic, again, and the pineal gland stimulator. Another oil that I think can help with your thyroid is geranium. And are you familiar with geranium?
Just that it's a flower.
Okay, yep.
See, I told you, I'm just learning.
Excellent. Well, it's a beautiful flower and smells delicious, and and really, that's the thing. You can, I don't know if you're familiar with Bach remedies or flower remedies, but he just suggests Yeah, use what you're drawn to, whether it's because it just smells good or it just looks pretty. Whatever the reason is, if you're drawn to that scent or that, there's a reason for it. So trust that. You don't need to know all the specifics. Just, hey, geranium smells good and I feel better. So what else do you need to know?
We have another question from the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
Christie, what about eucalyptus oil for head pain being put on the temples?
Oh, definitely. Eucalyptus is good for that. Lavender is good for that. Peppermint is good for that. But I do just kind of want to differentiate. There are several types of eucalyptus. There's, let me see if I can remember them, Eucalyptus globulus, Eucalyptus radiata, and Eucalyptus citriodora. And if I remember correctly, the Citrodora isn't really as effective on headaches as the Radiata and the Globulus. I really don't know why that is, but, I guess because I come from different trees and different trees do different things. So, yeah, that's excellent. Peppermint is super effective for headaches as well. And then sometimes you like something sweeter like Lang Lang. Which has also been really effective, or lavender, which we talked about earlier, and geranium I was just starting to tell you about. That's really good for headaches. Even grapefruit. Grapefruit's really good for that as well.
Wow. See, I'm going to learn. I'm going to read a lot more, and I'm going to have you back if you'll come back to the show.
I totally will. Thank you. I did want to give you one more oil, though, honey, for the thyroid. That is also, this will also help you produce natural melatonin, and very calming again. That is cedarwood. Are you familiar with
smell of cedar? Oh, I love cedarwood. I
Good.
love the smell of it.
All right. Yeah, so those are...
it's one of my faves.
Oh, good.
I burn it as incense a lot.
Excellent. So, yeah, there's something to that. You were already naturally attracted to that. So, again, calming effects. It also can help you with, anxiety or, again, respiratory or chest infections. But, yeah, I just, cedarwood, people are always thinking, I can't get to sleep, and they want to go take melatonin pills. And I'm sorry, unfortunately, man is not smarter than God. So, trying to synthesize melatonin and then add that to your body just doesn't work. That's why the pills don't work. So you want something that's going to help stimulate your natural melatonin production, and cedarwood definitely fits the bill.
Well, see, that's what I do in the evening. I'll burn sandalwood, cedarwood, something to calm the night away, and just, put on some soft tunes, and poof, I'm gone.
That is a very spiritually powerful combination. I can smell it from here.
Well, I think it's part of my native upbringing, I guess. It's just, you want the smells of nature, and that's
definitely
what I am. I'm still learning a lot, and I am so tickled to have had you on my show today. And your information is so wonderful. And I'm going to be on your sites reading.
Yay! I have a bunch of videos, too, where I address certain issues, whether it's respiratory issues or, whether you just want something to make your skin glow, or household cleaning products, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Terry.
Yes.
Yeah, so just little things like that can kind of help people along the way. Hopefully.
I am so thankful. And yes, we are definitely going to have you back. Having an hour show, it's just, I really appreciated this very much.
Thank you. I appreciate
somebody asked in here, did she mention tea tree oil? I believe she did, but she didn't elaborate. So I'll give her these few minutes to elaborate on tea tree oil.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.